It does give you a cute party trick, I guess.
That's true. All right, I didn't consider that.
That's selling it for you, making you want to play this
No.
option. Okay, didn't think so.
Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today is what is it?
It's Warlock Wednesday, baby.
Warlock Wednesday. Oh, we have a special Warlock Wednesday for you today, for it is the last Warlock Wednesday.
But alas, it's flavorfully fitting because Warlock Wednesday is truly undying.
Yep, and that's what we're covering today. Uh, the Undying subclass.
We really are going out with a whimper, huh? Not a bang. Bummer. Uh,
Oh,
yeah, this is one of those Sword Coast Adventures guide subclasses where like 90% were just booty, and then there was Blade Singer. This isn't Blade Singer, let me tell you. This was so bad they didn't reprint it and opted to make a new version of it in Van Herten's Guide to Ravenloft. That's how bad this thing was. So
that's
yeah.
so weird.
I'll tell you. I think it was the right decision. I wanted to play a cool Undead Warlock, and this sure wasn't it.
No, but why not just remake it then?
Because then you couldn't also have the option to buy a book that had a bad option. You'd have to play the updated version, you know?
All right, well, what do we got here?
So we start with the expanded spell list. These are really important because they tend to tell you like they give you a new direction that lets your warlock be different from the other warlocks. And because you're on short rest pack magic, you're gonna use these spells a lot, conceivably. The list is fairly important. This list starts with False Life, which is not a good spell. It does upscale with level at least, which we do want pack slots to do. You just probably still don't want it, especially because Fiendish Vigor exists if you want this kind of effect. It also gives you Ray of Sickness, which is a below rate 2 con save damaging spell that can poison things that technically scales with level, but you never really want to cast it. So it's like not an amazing place to start, but it's not technically like unusable.
No.
Second level offers 2 bangers actually, blindness, deafness, and silence. I'm a fan of both these. They both scale with blindness, deafness scales with level, and silence is important for a lot of like spell casting
Yeah.
shenanigans. Um, so those two are pretty nifty. You can like blind 2 things at 3rd level. Silence is always never gonna feel great to use a 5th level slot on, but sometimes you got to do it. 3rd level gives
Well, I
us
think it'll feel great when you do have to do it, and it does what you needed to do.
whenever you stop a caster from taking a turn and have to make them do other things, and like if martial characters can get to them or there's a restraint on them or something, it does feel very, very solid.
Yeah.
3rd level gives us Feign Death, which was a choice that they made, I guess. That sure doesn't scale with
Thematic.
level. Yeah, I guess. I mean, they're not really in the market of feigning it, are they? They just kind of want to like emulate and be undead. That's the gist. I don't know.
Well,
They
I
don't want
mean,
to be dead. That's the point of being undying, right?
yeah, but they can like,
Pretend they're
hang
dead.
out. Yeah, hang out in the front yard and pretend they're a Halloween decoration until the kids come by and
Then
say,
poof.
"Brr." Yeah,
All right, that's actually best case use I think we've come up with yet.
I think it is. Yeah.
The other option we get is Speak with Dead, which is a particularly like I like the spell, but you could take an invocation unless you do it at will. And I would say if you're gonna want to cast a spell, you should do it that way, not with spell slots, because it sure isn't gonna be worth one of your like 2 spell slots. It is kind of novel that you use it as a different time. So like if you're doing short, like because you can short rest, if you know you're gonna short rest after doing some like exploration, this can be kind of an extra way to throw on your sheet that gives you some out of combat utility stuff. But yeah, it's still not
Well,
not great.
if you think you're gonna need speak with dead, you have a choice. Do I want to blow an invocation on it, or do I want to blow a spell on it?
Yeah, at least the
So
invocation is like at will, so it's like
I
you
don't.
never have to worry about that. That's a very
Yeah.
large difference.
Well, I know,
Um,
but I mean, how much dead are you going to need to speak with? And
I
is
think
it worth taking over a different invocation?
yeah, go watch that video. I think I defended it well in that video. Whatever that invocation was called, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the speak with that invocation.
Yeah.
Um, on 4th level, we get one interesting spell and completely uncastable one, and so Aura of Life is the uncastable one. So this lets you get creatures up from 0 to 1 and gives everyone resistance to necrotic damage, including you. Oh,
Well,
and your max hit points can't go down.
if you're playing an Undying Warlock, a lot of these features are effective against undead, which are going to deal necrotic damage.
No, close. They're going to deal bludgeoning, slashing, piercing damage.
Yeah,
Sometimes
probably.
poison, and in the very rare instance, one might do necrotic.
Yeah. Okay.
So, no, absolutely not the case. This spell is actually uncastable. Don't put on your character sheets. This one, however, is one of like before Undead got printed. This was the reason to play Undying. It's Death Ward because Death Ward lasts 24 hours, but you get it back on short rest, so you can kind of game the system by like taking a long rest, extending that by an hour, so you can Death Ward people in between the long rest and short rest. Then you short rest, get your stuff back, do it again, and the whole party's Death Ward, and everyone's got like 6 hours of Death Wards up. And that was kind of novel. It was like, hey, if you're around me and I'm 7th level, everyone gets to stop at 1 hit point before we go down. That was cute. And then you don't get 5th level options. It's Contagion, Legend, Lore, and both these are actual uncastable trash. So, that's a bummer.
All right. I know legend lore is, but what about contagion? I mean, maybe it's bad, but I feel bad putting it on the same level as legend lore.
I think it deserves it. So you touch a thing, you make a melee spell attack. On hit, it's poisoned. At the end of each of the poison creature's turns, it makes a con save. If the target succeeds on 3 saves, it's no longer poisoned, the spell ends. If it fails 3 saves, it's no longer poisoned, you choose one of the diseases below. So remember, we just talked about in the Sorcerer 6th level spell videos,
Flesh to
Stone.
Stone, yes.
We're starting there.
Okay.
And then if that happens, it's worst case scenario. It has some really cool abilities tacked onto this. So there's like blinding sickness, filth fever, flesh rot. There's a lot of neat little effects: mind flare, seizures, slimy doom. The reality, though, is you're spending a 5th level spell slot on that you have to touch somebody to poison them, and that is just not worth it. Unequivocally, you're gonna waste spell slots.
By the time you get the cool effect, the battle is long over.
Yeah, the thing's super dead, or you're super dead because you cast Contagion. So yeah, we got like Death Ward is a notable, interesting one, and then the 2nd level spells as Blindness, Deafness, and Silence. So this isn't actually the worst spell list, I think, for Warlocks out of all of them, but it sure isn't great. I bottom of the barrel still from that perspective. Now, do you get any other abilities that are useful and or helpful?
Let's find out.
Well, we start with Among the Dead. Starting at 1st level, you learn Spare the Dying, which counts as a Warlock cantrip for you. Counts as a Warlock cantrip for you. Apologies. You also have advantage on saving throws against disease, which...
All right, stop there. Okay. When it says it counts as a Warlock cantrip for you, what does that mean? That means you don't get to choose a better one? This is in place of ones that you would have gotten to choose?
My reading of this was it is a Warlock spell for you, which means it uses your Warlock spell save DC and spell attack modifier and all that fun stuff. I think. Commenters, let me know if I'm wrong and you have to learn this crap. Anyway, you also have
you have to learn it and you don't get a choice behind it. That's how I first read it, and I thought that can't be right.
That doesn't sound right. So yeah, let's take it. You get this for free.
Okay.
Which still is not a cantrip you really actively wanted on your sheet, but that's fine. It also says, additionally, undead have difficulty harming you. If an undead targets you directly with an attack or a harmful spell, that creature makes a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. An undead need make the save whenever it includes you in an area of effect, such as the explosion of a fireball. On a failed save, the creature must choose a new target or forfeit targeting someone instead of you, potentially wasting the attack or spell. On a successful save, the creature is immune to the effect for 24 hours. An undead is also immune to the effect for 24 hours if you target it with an attack or a harmful spell. So against one creature type,
yes,
you have a pseudo sanctuary. That's your entire 1st level feature.
I would like this if it was more broad.
I would like this if it came with another 1st level feature, I think.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, just how, I mean, you are Undying. I mean, if you're going into an undead theme thing, then maybe. I mean, there are ways you could have fun, ways you could strategize this in the encounters that it's going to matter in. But I don't think that's going to be the majority of encounters.
Yeah, I don't know, right? Like, so when I ran a zombie apocalypse game, I will say this feature would have been good, right? Whenever you are exclusively fighting against one creature type and that creature type is undead, and you wanted to be a frontline warlock, I really should hammer home. You want things to have to forfeit their attacks for this, for it to be good, I think. Then it would have been like pretty solid ability. It definitely would have lost a little bit of value whenever you realize a lot of the undead just start turning on your friends and they just kill them faster. But you are a warlock, so it's kind of in your prerogative to be self-serving, right? That kind of makes sense. If you're a blaster lock, it just is like in a case of emergency kind of thing. And
See,
again,
I was thinking blaster, you get closer than you normally would, but not right up in the fray.
your goal is to like still draw some heat so
Yeah,
that things still struggle to hit you and your hit points
yeah,
become more valuable then and like useful in terms of weighing party action and keeping people alive. But at the same
yeah,
time, you're not like letting attacks get redirected to your friends. Unfortunately, that's not like 99% of games. And while it is
no,
an interesting headspace to like conceive of, the reality of it is you don't want a feature that only works in a handful of encounters. Notably, in those handful of encounters, it has to be mass undead. Because the moment there's only like 4 or 5, you'll shoot one and it'll shoot you back. If they're killing your party first and you last, it doesn't really matter. This feature doesn't contribute at all to the fight being different. You need to be the target of the undead's attacks. So if an encounter gets like a lone lich and it's conjured golems, if you're gonna try and shoot the lich, right? And then another it doesn't do anything anymore against the lich specifically, at least, which leaves this as a feature that you're like, in some undead encounters, it will be useful. And that's a subset of encounters.
yes,
And that's just not a feature. That just equates to a waste of a first level ability. I will
agreed.
say, if you're going into a zombie apocalypse game specifically, this is a lot more interesting.
Yes,
I would have got it if they printed it in Curse of Strahd, because they'd be like, this is for this setting. Most encounters are at least tangentially related to the undead. And for an average Forgotten Realms game, an average homebrew setting, this is absolutely no business being on your character sheet. That does give it more points than some other features we talk about on this channel.
yeah,
It is, I think, the most interesting feature the subclass gets. So the 6th level gives us death or defy death. Starting at 6th level, you can give yourself vitality when you cheat death or when you help someone else cheat it. You can regain hit points equal to a D8 plus your Constitution modifier whenever you succeed on a death saving throw or when you stabilize a creature with Spare the Dying. Once you use this feature,
oh god,
you can't again until you finish a long rest.
it was bad before you read the last line, but at least interesting. All right, I get Spare the Dying for free. I don't really want a feature that counts on me or my friends dropping, but they gave me something to do with the first part that I can apply to the second part. I like that. And then it's the long rest.
Notably, fun fact, you should never ever use this effect whenever you stabilize creatures with Spare the Dying. You would much rather do it whenever you pass a death save. Because you're stabilizing them means you're conscious. And you
Right.
don't need the hit points. They need the hit points. But you can't
That's
give
true.
them the hit points. Only you get the hit points. You need these hit points when you're making death saves. So save it for that, I guess. And ignore the rest of this text to try to bait you into wasting your feature.
Oh, it's gonna get worse though.
It does somehow get worse. So Undying Nature is our 10th level feature. Beginning at 10th level, you can hold your breath indefinitely. You don't require food, water, or sleep. Food, water, or sleep, although you still require rest to reduce exhaustion and still benefit from short and long rests. In addition, you age at a slower rate. For every 10 years that pass, your body ages only 1 year and you're immune to being magically aged.
This, I mean, like we got a ribbon feature, and then somebody thought, oh wait, there's a way to abuse this, or a way to make it usable at all. Let's scratch that. I mean, if this could somehow make your short resting requirements lower or something, okay, I'm in. But no.
No. This does have a potential novel and Munchkin-y use case, and that's with the
Okay.
coffee lock builds. So there's a Aspect of the Moon is a invocation that you can get that circumnavigates the need to take 10 levels of this horrendous subclass, which says you no longer need to sleep and you can't be forced to sleep by any means. What that basically conceivably does is remove the exhaustion penalties for not taking long rests. Because long rests, I think it was the Xanathar rules presented exhaustion rules that you would gain levels of exhaustion on failing saves that would go up in DC after not completing long rests. This basically says if you're a sorcerer and you are doing the sorcerer warlock thing, well, you have 10 levels in warlock, which is more than you normally want. You could stop taking long rests altogether, except to regain hit dice, and then just use the short rests to get billions of spell slots, right? Just continue stacking them up and up and up and up again. Now, you may have noticed, like I prefaced this, there's an Eldritch Invocation that you can get with no prerequisites that replaces any need for you to ever consider doing that with this. If your DM has specifically banned Aspect of the Moon in attempts to curb coffee locking, and they haven't banned this, and you go, oh, I'm gonna show them, and you do 10 levels of this and start the Munchkin nonsense, I have a hunch you're gonna get a Stern talking to and have to take a new subclass. So, like, yeah, that's the only novel thing to mention here, I think, right? The rest of this is just, you can breathe underwater, okay? This isn't a feature. This is a entire, like you said, this is a ribbon. This is like there are some features that we have to explain aren't features. Like, oh no, they try and trick you with some crazy wording that never comes up. No, this just actually doesn't give you anything.
I mean, it's a cool ribbon.
It is. It would be a cool ribbon alongside another 10th level feature.
Yes.
Oh, Bob, I had a brilliant idea. I have a brilliant idea. Okay. So what we do, we take the undead subclass and we take the ribbons from this subclass, which is every one of its features, and we just staple it onto the undead, and it's exactly the same as powerful.
Yeah, sure.
Nailed it. Perfect design.
Oh, but wait, there's more.
There is, for some reason. At 14th level, we have Indestructible Life. That is a claim. When you reach 14th level, you partake in some of the true... You partake of some... Yeah, you partake of some of the true secrets of Undying. This sentence is hurting my brain. When you reach 14th level, you partake of some of the true secrets of the Undying. We got there.
Yeah.
On your turn, you can use a bonus action to regain hit points equal to a D8 plus your Warlock level. Additionally, if you put a severed body part of yours back in place when you use this feature, the part reattaches. Once you use this feature, you can't again until you finish a short or long rest. So this is Second Wind as a 14th level feature.
Well,
you get less of the fighter. Oh, and that, and severed body parts. So you know, it does give you a cute party trick, I guess.
That's true. All right, I didn't consider that.
That's selling it for you? Making you want to play this option? Okay, didn't think so.
All right, so bonus action to regain hit points. We have two features here that give you D8 hit points.
It's plus level.
This one's plus your Warlock level, and that one's plus your Constitution modifier. But that's not enough.
Fun fact, fighters at second level get a feature called Second Wind.
Yes.
I'm sorry, at first level get a feature called Second Wind. That feature says, on your turn, you can use a bonus action or gain hit points equal to 1d10 plus your fighter level. Once you use this feature, you can again before you finish a short or long rest. This is a first level fighter feature that you're getting as your 14th level capstone.
Wow.
Womp womp. Yeah, the Swordcast Adventure Guide really struck again with this one. Yeah, this entire thing comes together to be just truly, truly abysmal. It's a shame. I think there is a novel idea here in Among the Dead. I think it's a cool little ability. There's the seeds and the sprinklings of build around features with Death Defy being like, oh, you're gonna use Spare the Dying a bunch of times, get some cool, but then they limited it to once for some unholy reason. Undying Nature was like, well, we want to give them the flavor of being an undead, but we don't want to give them a real feature in addition to that. And that's what Undying Nature is. And Indestructible Life is just, I don't get it. I don't get why that was what they thought the capstone should look like, was a bonus injection of hit points, right? Like, you could consider Indestructible Life to be half of the tough feat.
Yeah.
That's not a 40th level feature. That's just a steroid of hit points. That also lets you reconnect body parts, I guess, if that matters to you all that much. It doesn't matter that much to me. So yeah, I'm left with this thing being like, I don't know if I can call it the worst Warlock subclass. I think there will be a table where it is good. And that is the table that is I say good. A table that will want 3 levels of this.
Yeah,
and that table will be...
I'm with you there.
That table will be the ones that are in the zombie apocalypse setting that we talked about at the beginning of this video with Among the Dead. You don't want anything else this thing offers past the first level feature, and it is exclusively when you're being surrounded by undead every encounter. Yeah, the Death Ward stuff is cute, but I don't think it's saving this archetype much. I still think it probably gets a D, which I know seems generous, but one of the features can do something. The Undying Nature technically is a little, or sorry, Death Defy is technically a little like you go down and you get up from 0 yourself, which has value, right? It's a way to get yourself off 0, which then get your party off 0. It's not good, but it does do something. And I do think my bar for Fs is all of the features are completely unusable. And this is like Death Ward plus decent second level spells plus a niche first level feature that will be good at ones of tables. And at those tables, this is probably a D.
All right. Yeah, at those tables, but that's not enough for me. This one gets an F from me. What you get from Defy Death is not enough for, I think, anybody to reasonably take 6 levels in the subclass to unless they're playing at the zombie apocalypse table.
At 7th level, you also get death wards for the whole group, so that's kind of neat, right? If you're abusing
Yeah.
the system, it gets a
Then
lot
you gotta
better.
then you gotta go up to 7th level in this.
True.
Oh no. Straight up F. Not even an F plus.
I think you're being harsh, but sure.
Well, I am going to enjoy playing Swashbuckler a lot more than I am this.
But they're both pretty bad.
Yeah.
At least this gets features that do something sometimes.
All right. Wow. That's how we're ending Warlock Wednesday. Ouch.
It's a rough time out there for Warlocks. But we talked about some good options. You know,
Yeah.
harking back to the good old days of Fathomless and a little bit of Fiend and a tiny, tiny teensy bit of Fae. Like, there's some good options. Genie is sweet.
Yeah.
Go with
Genie
those
and
options
Fathomless
instead.
are my picks.
Yeah, I agree.
Well,
Funny how the most modernly designed ones are the best and coolest.
well, I'm sure we'll be doing a ranking at some point.
Hmm.
If we do it next week, this might not be the end.
Who
Well, we'll see.
knows?
Stay tuned. All right. Well, thank you, Sam, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know what you think of the Undying Warlock down in the comments below. And like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Goodbye.